You hand your toddler the tablet. Maybe you need 10 minutes to make dinner. Maybe you just need to breathe. Within seconds, their eyes lock onto the screen. Everything else disappears. And when you try to turn it off, meltdown. You feel it in your gut. Something about this doesn't feel right, but you can't quite name it. If you've ever wondered whether modern cartoons are designed differently than the shows you grew up with, you're not imagining things. Let's talk about what's actually happening. The shift. Here's something you've probably noticed. Cartoons aren't just on TV anymore. They're on your child's cereal box, their pajamas, the yogurt pouches, the Band-Aids. Walk into any store, and you're surrounded by cartoon characters, smiling, waving, calling for attention. It's everywhere, and it's constant. But it's not just the quantity that's changed, it's the cartoons themselves. Think back to the shows you watched as a kid. Maybe it was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, or Sesame Street, or even something like Tom and Jerry. They were slower, calmer. The pacing gave you time to absorb what was happening. The colors were softer. The music didn't assault your ears. Now, it's a different world. What changed? Modern cartoons move fast. Scene changes happen every few seconds. Colors are intensely bright, especially on today's high-definition screens. The sound effects are sharp and constant. Characters express emotions in exaggerated, explosive ways. And kids? They're mesmerized. But here's the thing, that's not an accident. Today's content creators have access to data we never had before. They know exactly which colors hold attention longest, which sounds trigger excitement, how fast to cut between scenes to keep a child from looking away. It's not necessarily malicious, but it is intentional. And our kids' brains? They're wired to respond. The science, simply put. Let's keep this straightforward. When your child watches a fast-paced, colorful, loud cartoon, their brain releases dopamine. That's the feel-good chemical, the one that says, "This is rewarding. Keep doing this." Now, dopamine itself isn't bad. It's how we learn, how we feel motivated, how we experience joy. But here's where it gets tricky. When dopamine spikes happen rapidly and repeatedly, like they do with fast cuts, bright flashes, and constant stimulation, the brain starts to crave that intensity. Suddenly, slower activities feel boring. A picture book doesn't compete. Playing with blocks feels dull. Even calm conversation loses its appeal. It's not that your child is being difficult. Their brain is recalibrating to expect that level of stimulation. And when it's taken away, withdrawal, frustration, that meltdown you were dreading. The other side. Now, before we go further, let's be fair. Not all modern cartoons are bad. Some are beautifully made. They teach empathy, problem solving, emotional regulation. Shows like Bluey and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood are thoughtfully paced and genuinely helpful for kids. And let's be honest, cartoons give parents a break. They let us cook dinner, take a shower, answer a work email. That matters. Parenting is hard, and we don't need more guilt. Also, kids today are growing up in a visual digital world. Some exposure to screens isn't going to ruin them. Balance is key, not perfection. But there's still something worth paying attention to here. What parents notice. You might have seen this in your own home. Your child watches a particularly intense cartoon. Afterward, they're wired, overstimulated. They run around, can't settle, speak louder than usual. Or they seem zoned out, like they're still half in that screen world. You try to engage them in something else, and it's like pulling teeth. Or maybe you've noticed this. Certain shows make your child demand more. One episode isn't enough. They beg, plead, bargain for just one more. That's not defiance. That's their brain saying, "I need that feeling again." And here's the part that worries some parents. Certain behaviors start showing up. The exaggerated reactions, the loud, chaotic play, sometimes even the language or attitudes from the characters. Not every child, not every show, but enough that you've probably thought, is this actually good for them? The bigger picture. Here's what researchers are starting to understand. It's not just about screen time, it's about what's on the screen. A calm, slow-paced educational show has a very different effect than a hyper-stimulating cartoon with rapid cuts and sensory overload. One study found that kids who watched fast-paced cartoons had more trouble with focus and self-control immediately afterward, compared to kids who did slower activities like drawing. Another found that the type of content mattered more than the amount of time spent watching. This isn't about demonizing screens. It's about recognizing that not all content is created equal. And as parents, we get to be curious about what our kids are actually absorbing. So, what do? You don't have to throw out the tablet, you don't have to ban cartoons, but you can be intentional. Watch what your child is watching, at least once. Notice how it makes them feel. Are they calm afterward or wired, engaged or zoned out? Choose shows that match the energy you want in your home. Slower paced doesn't mean boring. It just means your child's nervous system gets a break. Limit the really intense stuff. Save it for occasional treats, not daily defaults. And when you do turn off the screen, expect some resistance. That's normal. But hold the boundary gently. Offer connection, a hug, a game, your presence. Their brain will recalibrate. It just takes time. Here's the truth. You're not doing this perfectly. None of us are. But you're paying attention. You're asking questions. You're noticing when something feels off. That awareness, that's everything. Modern cartoons aren't inherently evil, but they are designed to capture attention, and our kids' brains are still developing the ability to resist that pull. So trust your instincts. If something feels too intense, too fast, too much, it probably is. You know your child. You know what they need. And that's more powerful than any algorithm. What keeps sticking with me is that this isn't really a screen time problem. It's a nervous system problem. Our kids' brains are still learning how to regulate attention, emotion, and impulse. And when we drop them into a world of hyperspeed visuals and nonstop stimulation, we're asking those tiny systems to handle something even many adults struggle with. So when they melt down after the tablet turns off or seem unable to settle into anything quieter, it's not a failure of discipline or a sign we've spoiled them. It's their brain trying to downshift after being revved too high for too long. And once you see it that way, the question stops being, how do I control this behavior? And becomes, how do I help my child come back to calm? That shift, from managing behavior to supporting regulation, changes everything. If this made you think, share it with another parent who might need to hear it. And let me know in the comments, have you noticed this shift in cartoons too?